Hey guys, Ryan here, and today I'm going to be bringing you a video on the 279E, a tank I'm sure you've probably seen a lot of in the Matchmaker recently. Now, I was just going to do some replays for you today, but I thought, obviously this tank's come out, there's been a lot of discussion about it, so I thought I'd throw in my opinion, and I'm actually going to be bringing you a kind of first impressions video similar to what I did with the Minotaur KV5, where I'm just going to do 2 or 3 games, and I'm just going to play them live. And as well as that, I'll be able to talk over the armor model a little bit. You'll see I've got XP on the tank. That was from Proving Ground. I went in to check my reload, test out the armor a little bit while I was waiting for some clanmates to come on to go into team training with me. As you can see, I've not actually played any battles in it. So also, what I'll do first is, because it's probably the thing most people are wondering about, is the armor on this thing. Because you see it doesn't have a lower plate, it's got 4 sets of tracks, the shape of the tank's very strange, but I haven't played any battles in it. I've got a brief idea and tell you some things I've learned while in team training. So, firstly, do I think this thing's armor model is OP? The answer is no. Do I think the tank itself is OP? No. And I'll go over why. Now before we go about the armor, because I've got quite a lot to say about it, let's go over the stats. Now, 14.17 horsepower per ton, 40 km/h top speed. It feels fairly mobile for what it is and how it looks. The gun is the interesting part though. Now this tank has been nerfed compared to PC. The armor is the same as PC, but the gun stats have been nerfed quite significantly, in that this thing actually has a worse reload than the IS-4, which means worse DPM than the IS-4, because it's basically the IS-4 gun. Same alpha damage, same penetration on the standard and premium rounds. And the IS-4 didn't have the highest DPM to begin with, it was only slightly higher than an IS-7, so about 2200, so this means this has under 2200 DPM base. So, the gun isn't the best, you only get 5 degrees gun depression. It's not the slowest turning tank for the size of it, but at the same time, when you look at this tank you might think it's quite heavy, but I can tell you it is not. It's got 2400 hit points, which is a decent chunk, but this thing weighs 60 tons. Now, again, that's fairly heavy, but like when you consider something like an E50M and an FE215B weighs 70 tons, this is not the heaviest tank for what it looks like. So the gun isn't the best. Worse than an IS-4 actually, though it does have what's worth noting, 0.3 seconds better aim time and the same accuracy. So, anyway, the armor on this thing, you'll see the shape of it straight away. Now the turret, 330 at the front, you're not going to be able to pen that. Unless you're like super high pen, tier 10 premium rounds at point blank range right next to the gun, where it is 330mm. So if you've got like a Jaeger or an Object 268, you might be able to pan that. The cupola on this thing is actually 230mm raw thickness at the front, and it's quite a small cupola, so good luck hitting it, and if you're in a tier 8 tank, good luck panning that. As you saw, no lower plate, there's a little bit of a lip, but it's 260mm thick, and slightly angled downwards a tiny bit if you're on flat ground with him. And the upper hull is you've got a bar of 185, 170, 160, and just gets lower as you go up. However, what I've noticed is, and also with the armor model being the same as PC, that means if you look at this thing frontal on, the center of his upper hull, flat on, is about 280mm thick or so. So that pretty much means, against tier 8 tanks, and against standard rounds, this thing has really good armor. But the very moment you load premium rounds, and especially tier 9 and 10 tanks, especially heat shells, which deal with angling, like angled armor better, you can just butter straight through the upper hull of this thing. And we tested this out. We tried an Object 268 tier 10 TD first, which obviously has insane penetration, with a standard round as well as a premium, and then we tried a T62A. Now with the standard rounds of an Object 268 with 300mm pan, you can pen straight through this thing's upper plate. However, you have to hit, when he's flat onto you, the center of it, just above the orange armor there. So you want to hit the yellow armor in the center. And with about 300 pen, you can go straight through that. Or, as I said, if you're in a tier 9 or 10 tank, low premium, you can go straight through that. If he tries to angle, given the curved nature of it, you will see that, yes, the center of the hull has gotten thicker and the far side's gotten more effective, but the closer side to you has actually gotten weaker, so just shoot again flat for it. No matter how he angles it, there'll always be a flat part of it for you to shoot at. So it sounds bad, but basically, standard rounds, this thing's quite good. Against premium rounds, this thing essentially has no armor at all, but at the same time, it depends on distance and accuracy. Because even with the 300 pen of a 268 tier 10 tank destroyer, I bounced a couple shots off the front of this thing simply because my shots would deviate to the left, to the right, or into the turret rather than hitting center. So what that tells me is this thing will actually be easier to pan the closer it is to you. So if you can stay at a distance in this thing, your armor would be much more effective. Especially since like the cupola will be a lot harder to hit as well. Now, you cannot overmatch the top of the turret. There is a 50mm plate, so that means that could be overmatched by 152mm guns, but you think about tanks to have 152mm guns, which are tank destroyers, and two of the tier 10 heavies, the 705A and the 60TP, they're quite low profile tanks, so I doubt you're going to get the shot on that. If you get behind one, you could always just pen him back of the tank, really, but also, you may have noticed it, look at the size of the back of this tank, and it's 30mm thick. That is just a huge fucking landing pad for artillery. So, if artillery hits that, you're pretty much fucked. Now, the side armor looked interesting to me when I first saw it. It actually made me think of the 257 a little bit. However, you will see the upper bar is 140. So if you get to the side of this thing, you can pen the flat bar at the top with most tanks you'll be in when facing this. And with a 262A with 268 pen, I thought, I had JB, one of my clan mates, sit sideways onto me, and I shot the lower side of it where the armor angles down, and it's 100mm thick, and I thought, I want to see if it's just auto ricochet, like 257. It is not. I was actually able to pen that fairly reliably flat on. Now obviously, if you start angling it, it might become a bit more effective, and when you're side scraping, that angle will certainly help, but pretty much means if you get to the side of this thing, you'll be able to pen it no problem, basically. So, it's not got like super trolly side armor that you'll bounce off completely flat on, unless you're super unlucky, I suppose. Or in a tier 8 light tank, maybe. One other thing to notice on this before I go into the game, because I spent a bit of time talking about this, is like the 257, however, if you look at the shape of it and the hull, and you see it's got 4 tracks, that means you cannot, if you shoot the drive wheel, the front or the back one, you cannot track and damage this tank in the same shot. It's not possible. So if you're shooting for the tracks, just be aware that you're only going to damage the tracks. You will never do damage to the tank. That doesn't mean you shouldn't shoot the tracks. Hopefully it'll help you get round it, but just be aware that you cannot track and damage this tank at the same time. So, to conclude, from what I've seen team training, it's a tank that's going to be amazing against tier 8, as long as you can say frontal arm, but against premium rounds and players who know what they're doing and where to shoot, i.e. the front of the hull and where they need to aim properly, you're basically going to have no armor at all. However, I just forgot to mention this, what you can do is, if you wedge your, because it doesn't have a lower plate, if you find a rock or something to wedge your tank up, to lift the tank up a little bit, you will make the upper plate more effective, and you'll see because they don't have a lower plate, they have nowhere to shoot. And the underneath the tank is 55mm thick, meaning the upper plate will be angled, the bottom tank will be angled, and no one can overmatch you except Jaegeru, so Jagdpanzer 100, and Death Star AP round. However, even though they can't overmatch you, again, if people have heat shells, as I said before, because the heat shells deal with angled armor better, I was able to shoot into the bottom of JB's tank when he wedged it upwards at close range. I shot into the bottom of the tank with heat shells and was able to pen every time. And also, at close range, if they're trying to wedge their tank up to make themselves more difficult to pan, that 260 bar at close range when they're wedging it up with heat, you can easily pan and easily hit. But again, at distance, you're not going to be hitting that. So, you can try and wedge your tank up a little bit to make the upper plate more effective, but just be aware that against high pen heat shells, at close range, you'll still be easily pannable. So, I think the way to describe this tank, from what I've seen, is the same way as I described 257, it's got good armor and bad armor, in the same way that if you're fighting people who don't know what they're doing, you'll be fine. If you fight people who know what they're doing, you're probably not going to be fine. But that's enough talking. I'll show you my equipment real quick. I've got gun rammer, coated optic, because I love view range, and vertical stabilizer, which I don't use on too many tanks, but I was going to go for spall liner, because I was expecting a lot of HE rounds to come at this thing in artillery, but this thing only gets a large spall liner, not the super heavy, because, again, I was expecting this thing to be a bit more heavy than what it was, but it's only 60 tons, so it's not the heaviest. So, let's get into some games and see how I do. Now, the whole description at the front, at the beginning, was because a lot of people are saying this thing's OP. Now, again, they might be right. I'm going off statistics and whatnot, the armor and everything. I'm not actually have to fight against these, and as I said, the armor at distance will probably be a bit of an issue to pen because it'd be harder to hit the exact point you need to hit, even if you know where you have to hit. So, and also what I said, AP and APCR will have a bit more difficult time panning it just because of their normalization angles on angled armor. So, as I said, if you want to kill these things, get heat, and you'll go straight through them. There's a lot of them in both teams, and you'll actually see I'm bringing a lot of heat shells with me on this, and that's because I'm expecting there to be a lot of 279Es. So I've got plenty of heat to deal with it. We'll see how it goes. I'm going to go to the heavy corner, brawl it out. I don't really have the gun to press in the fight exactly where I want to, but I'm going to go there anyway. So once I get in line here, I'll see how many 279Es there are in this game. You'll see him, like, only just keeping up with the 705A. I'm going to overtake him soon, but he does weigh an extra 40 tons on me, and has a bigger gun, so, like, I'm not that much faster than him. 1, 2, 3, 4 on my team, including myself, and 1, 2, 3, 4 in the enemy team. What artillery do they have? It's a Conqueror GC. They're the last ones you want to see, because I said about the engine deck being a huge fucking landing zone for artillery. Conqueror GC obviously has the incredible gun arc up and down, meaning that the shells will be a lot more likely to land right on top of your tank. I was going to take the route there to get up there, but since the light tank's down there, I don't want to go that way because I'll probably be spotted and I might get dicked on before I even get the cover. Don't have any Death Stars. T57 Heavy can be an issue because 240 heat pan, is that, well, 340 heat pan, sorry, as I was talking about the penetration on these things. I'm going to cross over. I don't mind taking a shot from the FV. Oh god, there's a lot of people up there. Oh, just about made it. Gonna load heat. The 2790 over here is also loading heat. You see he's wedging his tank up, you see. I'm gonna go for the lip with the heat shell. Unfortunately, him jumping up and down is making it quite difficult. If this 277 would like to, oh yeah, he's going through me. There we go. The underside of his tank with the heat shell. As you said, as you can see, he's trying to do that thing I was talking about angling the tank. Hit his tracks. Whoa, my controller bugged out a little there. My gun just swiveled to the left. Gonna angle out. His constant moving backwards and forwards is an issue, but if I track him for the team, they should be able to pan him if they shoot the right spot. I could do with my team tracking him for me, because if they track him, I'll be able to pan him. I'm getting bits of lag, which isn't ideal. The T57 Heavy behind me. So, yeah, if you wedge the tank up and stay moving, you'll be good. I think we lost this game because I'm about to get shot in the ass. I'm about to get shot in the ass, which isn't good for me. defense-based armor. I like my team to get rid of that dude there. I want to help him, but this guy will come for me if I do. Yeah, there it is. Right, nothing I could do there. They won the heavy corner on Al Haloof. Whoever wins the heavy corner wins the game. That's just how it works. So you saw the armor on the 279E there, and that's a guy who is clearly a good player because he knows about the wedging the tank up idea that I told you about. That's what you gotta do on this thing. Wedge it up, and then in order to stop them from shooting your weak point, like I was trying to, just keep moving backwards and forward. So basically play it like you would any other tank. Because in all other tanks, you always see people, you'll constantly stay moving backwards and forwards to obviously stop from hitting your weak point. So here's the post-game results screen. I didn't man as much. I lost a lot of silver because I'm fighting 279As. Our team managed to come back and win the heavy corner. This 270 blocked 1200, this one blocked 650, this blocked 440. And 1270, and what about their one? 9500, so as you see, if you know what you're doing, and you wedge the tank up, as I said, you can block some serious damage in this thing. Well, let's get into the next game here. I kind of just need a position where I'm not going to get flanked. Now, obviously, after the first impressions video, I'll probably try and get an actual decent game, like an ace tanker or something for you. However, I was actually thinking of, the reason I didn't do a video straight away in this tank is, as with any new tank, I tend to wait a couple months before playing them. Like the monthly reward tanks, because so many people have them that when they first get released, there's just so many of them in the matchmaker, I just avoid playing them because there's no point. You can't really get a good feel of how the tank's going to perform when there's 12 of the same tank on each team, because it's not a realistic battle scenario for what you're going to be playing against most of the time. This is more believable. There's 2 on each team. However, they have an auto-loading artillery and a tier 9 artillery. I wouldn't be surprised if just because of the huge engine deck on this thing, if people are intentionally just picking their artillery to specifically counter these things. So, I think I'll brawl it out down here. I need to think about where do I think I'll be the safest from artillery, basically. And hopefully this game, as long as I don't run into the 279A, I'll try and play with some AP rounds. You see, like, this thing, it's not like, obviously, AMX 50B fast, but it feels decently mobile, which is always nice. At the same time, maybe it's just because of how this tank looks that it feels mobile. Maybe if I was in something... I'm pretty sure the FV215B does about this speed, and that thing doesn't feel particularly fast. As you can see, a Chieftain doesn't feel particularly fast, but he's in front of me. TVP VTU's playing a risky game. He stopped the weight, which is nice, I suppose. Now, as to how I'll use gun depression over here, I have no idea. They've got a Chieftain with 10 degrees, Ship Conqueror 10 degrees, E5 with 8 degrees. That's quite interesting to fight against. There's their Chieftain. He just got behind the rock. There's the artillery already. I can't go up here because they're sniping TD Hill. And though they have no TDs, you know they're still going to have loads of people camping up there. Be able to hit us. I want to get rid of the Chieftain. There's the 279A. They have a very good gun depression. They're the super conk and thing. Is that the auto-loading artillery or nah? No, it seems to be the regular one because he's not firing a GAM. our T10's going ham on a Super Conch. The Artie's still firing over here. Can I get the back of this? Chieftain, don't have the gun depression. Been proxy spotted. I need that chieftain dealt with, if I'm honest. There we go. Our TVP is making a bit of a risky move with a Super Conqueror and an E100 out there. Again, the DPM on this thing, not the greatest. Worse than IS-4. That should be the chieftain dealt with. There we go. Super Conqueror's a very dangerous tank. If I can get rid of it for the team, that'll be very nice. He's dealt with. I'm going to move to the right, because Artie's probably aiming at me. Angle up. Look straight at him. Heat shell straight through the upper plate. As I said, heat is the key to destroying this thing. If you have heat shells, so much better than APCR. I'll load heat for him. I'll have a bit of a heat battle. Go back to AP because he's turning his turret. Now, you see him staying close to this rock. That's because artillery. I don't want to fuck with that. Oh, he's got a good angle on me. Oh, I'm gonna have to load heat. Gonna angle. There we go. Go back to AP. Is our TVP dead? Oh yeah, that's a shame. Right, now I can move again to artillery, but I'm gonna just go for it. No, I need to see if there's another shot coming in about 5 seconds time, see if it's the autoloader or not. Now I'm hoping that thing doesn't have the gun arc in order to hit my engine deck. If I'm going to try and use the mouse in 4 cover from the RT, I go for the Conqueror. Oh, he's hull down on me, which isn't good. For those who don't know, you can't pan the cupola of a Conqueror without hate because it's super angled. That's the single shot one, not the autoloader. I'm going to start turning towards the artillery though in order to avoid him. You see he was able to pan me again through the upper hull. I'm about to get RD'd, so I need to kill this dude as quick as possible. There we go. As I said, this thing not going to deal with RD too well. But then again, nothing in the game deals with RD too well. That's just going to be reloaded in a moment. Now, I might get spotted from the hill. Oh god, there's an E75 coming back from me. I can't turn my ass to him, but I need someone to go kill the RD for me. RD is my biggest threat, as it is for all of you guys. RD is the biggest threat for everyone. At this rate, I don't actually care if they cap us out, I just don't want to die, basically. I'm hoping I can hide behind this rock. I don't know if RD covers a thing that exists in this world. Oh, call, that's the autoloader, I think. Yes, it is. I've got another 5 seconds. Angle for him. Dodge the R8. There we go. Side turret shot. And dodge the evasive maneuvers. He's only got one more shot at me. Oh. Try and intercept the enemy. Oh god, there's a heavy tank over. Oh, to 2798. He still had another shot for ages. He didn't reload in that time. He held that shot for about fucking 25 seconds waiting for me. Or he was trying to go for a blind shot. Well, a decent game nonetheless. I feel like if there was no artillery, I might have been able to pull a win from that. But that's basically every artillery game in existence. I think I can pull a win if it wasn't there. But you saw what I meant. Like, this thing is definitely does not take arty shells too well. And those are French artillery. They don't even have the biggest fucking guns. So if a Conqueror GC or T92 or GW100 hits you, it's over for you. I was tempted to use the Spall liner, but it just won't work, so I'll see you all for the third and final game. Here are the results screen. A high caliber, only second class could be lost, and whatnot. 5,933 damage, 2,700 blocked, 500 assistance. Fairly decent game. Highest damage in their team was also 279A. However, at the same time, you can see that one of their 279As did 0 damage, so again, it just comes down to how you play the thing. So, again, I don't think this thing is OP. And obviously, like, I'll keep mentioning it, artillery is the counter to everything in the game. Light tanks, medium tanks, heavy tanks, tank destroyers, and other artillery. So, if you're getting constantly killed by 279As, and you're not having a good time, I'm not recommending you do it for fun, because playing artillery is definitely probably the least fun thing to do in this game. But if you want to kill a 279A, play artillery, and try and land a shot onto its engine deck. You'll probably see quite a few clips of 279As get one-shotted by artillery, actually, I would imagine. Let's see if for the final game, I can get a game with no artillery. What do you reckon in the comments below? Is it possible to get a game with no artillery? I doubt it, because as I said, actually, I think that people are specifically going out in their high-tier artillery just to try and kill 279As. Another big map, not what I wanted. It's not great if I'm honest. Again, because the bigger the map, the more prone you are to artillery, it's open, etc, etc. So, I'm going to play it fairly safe around the H5, H6 area, H4. I don't like to go up to B0, but I'm in a heavy tank, I'm much too slow for that. I'll probably get spotted and shot up in the side before I get up there. Go castle, I'll probably get artilleried. It's a Conqueror GC and it's the Kappa clan, so a 279A platoon with an artillery, they're clearly trying to go for 3 marks on his 279A. For those of you who don't know, if you want a 3-mark tank, platooning with artillery is actually a good shout, because obviously you can have the artillery you're platooned with shoot at people you spot, and also you can track someone and then have your artillery shoot them. So if you're looking for 3 marks, platoon with an artillery player, and that's a good way of doing it. You also have a Death Star. So in this thing, as well as looking for artillery, I mainly look at the tier 9 and 10s and think who has good heat pan. Gwil 15 has heat pan, the T7 Heavy has heat, the IS-4 has heat, and the 79E has heat. Now the Kappa clan are a good clan, so that 279E is probably quite difficult to deal with, and I wouldn't be surprised if he also tries to find somewhere he can do the old wedging the tank up trick. Conqueror GC has that high gun arc as well, and again, because I know it's a competent clan with competent players, I need to worry about that Conqueror GC player, because he is 100% knows about the massive engine deck on this thing, and he is going to try and nail it. There are guys coming over here. I'm going to preload heat for him. Again, if you're fighting a 2798, don't feel bad about loading hate. It's just, you've got to do it. You cannot pen a 2798 frontally without hate. Unless you hit his cupola, but the cupola is tiny. And he's going to have heat loaded for me. I don't know who spotted me there, so that's a bit worrying, actually. I'm going to move because the GC is probably aiming over here. In fact, the GC is definitely aiming over here if the Object 2798, his platoon mate's coming over here. There you go. I'm going to wait for a little bit and see if my team can get side shots at him. Because they're up at the castle. Oh my god, it's a Death Star. Going to AP. Oh, I just blocked a teammate's shot. Sorry, Bram. That is my fault. Blind shot. Oh, I got the assistance, but holy crap, he nearly hit me. Nothing quite like your life flashing before your eyes when a fucking Death Star shell flies past your head. Oh, the 57 Heavy's being an issue. They have a Gorilla 15 over here as well. Is he dead? No, he's still alive. But I want to get this 279A. There he is. Shit, I'm also terrified of the Gorilla. They can't have any TDs up on the camper hill because they've only got the Gorilla 15 left. I'm going to go kill the T-57 Heavy. And then try and get the RD. Now, the GC might go for self-defense here because he probably knows I'm coming. T-57 Heavy has excellent heat pen and an autoloader and more DPM than me. As you can see, he's got the heat loaded, angle up. And I said, loading heat for this thing is the right thing to do. GC's missed me, so I've got a decent bit of time before he reloads. I'm going to let the teammate get behind him. No need to be greedy and go in. Let's see if I can ram his tracks off. Not quite. Then I'm going to go for this fucking Conqueror GC. Already at this moment is actually my biggest threat. I need him to fucking die, so... Gonna hide behind this rock, actually. There he is. Aim for him. Right, GC's just fired. He's gonna try and run. I'm gonna ignore the F4202. I'm just gonna go straight for the RD. He's gonna get away. Piece of shit. Again, I'm too slow to be dealing with people like this. Their 279E's in cover. Our Conqueror's trying to brawl him out by himself, which isn't good. Always push him out for me, which is nice. There we go. I want to go over and join him, but I can't because I'll be out in the open for the RD. The aim time. There we go. Our car's going to die in the next shot. If I can just at least get one more shot into him, I'll be happy. He's going to try and get round the Conqueror now. I was talking about being able to pen his side armor. I can't believe he actually had a shot at me there. That's a bit ridiculous. Go for the side bed. They're already dead at least, so I can at least have some solace in that. Again, I don't care if they cap me out. I'm fine with it. 251. Again, this 279A. I mean, I should expect it. He's a really good player. He's one of the top clans on PS4. I'm going to get more damage from this guy than I will the 279A. That thing has heat as well, actually. So, as I said, if you're fighting against one of these, load heat and you're pretty much golden. So, and again, do all you can to avoid artillery. Like, artillery will, like, honestly, I can't overstate it enough, with that massive engine deck, it will fuck your life. So, do what you can. Might as well watch the end of this game here. It's almost over. Now, I believe I could have killed this 279E had I been at close range, and I could have gone to close range fighting with him. Because you saw he was right on the corner with me, fight opposite me. I could have just went and fought him if he didn't have a Conqueror GC in his platoon. But because he did, I couldn't fight him because I would have been in the open. And he has the advantage of having artillery cover, and I don't. But not a bad game nonetheless. 2600 damage, 1600 assistance. Pretty decent. He had a pretty decent game. Again though, I wanted to go fight him face to face, but if I went to fight him face to face, a Conqueror GC would have just shot me in the face. So, artillery making things not too fun, but apart from that, not too bad. I mean, to be fair, I should probably platoon with artillery myself. It is the key to 3 marking tanks, but I doubt anyone want to do that because playing artillery is not very fun. So the 279A, is it overpowered? No. If you know where to shoot, you just load premium rounds, you'll be able to go straight through it. Obviously, if the player in it is good, as you saw that Kappa clan, one of the top clans on PS4, and the guy in the first game who was wedged his tank up and constantly moving, you can make it work, but it's no different to a 257. That thing's got really good armor if you know how to use it, and it has bad armor if you don't know how to use it. This is the same. The armor works if you know how to use it, and doesn't work if you don't. So, pretty good accuracy, 92% hit ratio, only 3 battles, 33% victory, but even though I only did 33% victory, a couple decent games. First game, terrible, but the guy in the enemy 279A really knew how to use his armor, so fair play to him, blocking almost 10k. Second game, a defeat, but I blocked a decent bit, got a decent bit of damage. And in the last game, an alright score, 2600 damage, 600 assistance, 4k combined. But again, you've seen another good player in the 279A. However, he also had the advantage of people knowing that if they tried to fight him, a Conqueror GC would dick on them. And of all the artillery in the game, this is the one you want to be most fearful of. Because now, obviously, it's common sense. When I say avoid artillery, you're all going to think, yeah, but you want to do that in every tank. Yes, but just look. If you get hit by artillery in this thing, there's so much more surface area and so much more percentage of your tank that you already can actually pen. Basically half of it, the artillery can pen. That's all artillery. And a Conqueror GC with that high firing arc and angle, it would be over for you if one of them hits you. So, and this thing in particular, be extremely wary of RT, especially British ones. So the tier 8, 9, and 10, be especially wary. So I'll try and get an ace tanker game for yous in the future. I'll still have another replay up of some earlier games from earlier in the week, as well as this video today, so look forward to that. I hope you enjoyed my initial first impressions. I hope the armor talk through at the start comes in handy. And I hope my advice comes in handy. Avoid artillery, and if you're fighting against one of these, frontal on, just load hate. And if you're in a tier 8 tank, just fuck off. Like, don't even bother fighting them. So thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you all in the next video.